She'd be really good, actually. She's almost the manager of the bakery at Whole Foods now.
Oh, cool. Yeah. My fiance works with her, but not with her.
In Monterey?
Mm-hmm.
Like at the store?
Yeah, she's a Prime shopper.
Oh, sick! I didn't know that. Okay, I think Viper told me she's talked to you recently, but I don't think she's talked to your fiance.
Yeah, I think I texted her that she got the job. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah. Okay. So this podcast, generally, what I've been doing is just talking with people, letting them, asking them questions about themselves, and then after we do some introductions for a while, as long as we need, then we move into like a topical thing where draw a topic, talk about the topic for as long as you want to, and then move on. And if you want to just skip a topic, that's totally fine. It's not meant to like force you into a conversation. It's just meant to let's talk about this topic if you want to.
I gotcha. I am trying to just give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So is it only on YouTube, or do you have it on Spotify and stuff?
I was posting it on Castbox, but then for some reason, I was just like, this is too much, so I'll just do YouTube. So right now, only YouTube.
Use if you decide to put it on stuff, use Anchor. And if you use Anchor, it posts it onto Spotify, iTunes, like instantly.
Let me actually look it up because I just
Anchor.fm.
Anchor.fm.
And it's really easy to use. So you just need to make it an MP3 format.
Easy.
Which
I have a thing.
Really easy to.
Yeah, I got a Movavi editing software, so it actually works out pretty nicely. Yeah. So first question for you then is, what is the Gray?
The Gray. Oh man, it's been a while.
Because this is the first look into the person that is Brad. That's the guy that wrote a book that works at the store I work at.
Yeah.
That published a book, by the way.
Is self-published.
But you had a printed book, so that's way more than most people ever get. Way farther than most people ever get.
That's true. So the Gray is kind of this alternate universe where it's basically people kind of get sucked into it, and it's Earth, but there's this constant fog, and like angels and demons and gods and goddesses and folklore are real, and people from different times kind of get sucked into it. So you'll have somebody from like the 1600s run into somebody from like the 3000s, and like all this stuff. So the book I wrote is called Jeremiah Wash the Gray, and the main character is Jeremiah Wash, and he is a rancher from the 1800s in Texas, and he gets sucked into the Gray, and he's trying to find the god or demon responsible for killing his family.
Sounds good, Punisher style.
That's like sci-fi Punisher.
Yeah. Dude, that was so wild. I think I got your book signed. Yeah.
Yep. I remember signing it.
I probably have the only signed copy of the Gray. What does the Gray represent? It's the fog. Is it like, because when I'm thinking of like a fog kind of that style, I kind of think of like, I don't know, an evil force kind of over the lands. Is that basically what it is?
Not really. Okay. So the story is based on a game that I used to play with some friends that another person I knew invented, and it was like a Dungeons and Dragons style
I'm
game.
Really into that right now.
Love it. So he kind of like came up with this universe, and I started writing this book. And then I had a falling out with that group, but not like with the creator of the game. And he called it something else. They call it something else. So I changed a lot of things in the book, just like distance myself from the people I played with. And the creator knows that I wrote a book, and he never said anything about it. So it's like, but like I made
if you became a millionaire, then you probably would have.
Yeah, I made it distinct enough to where it's a different thing, but it still draws a lot of inspiration from the game that we played. So
Yeah, that's sick though. The whole this situation. And how long were you at Star Market? Because that's where I met you, where I worked as well.
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, that was I left there February 2020, and I started there February like 2013.
Good for you though. Good for you to get out of it. Star Market's a great store. I mean, obviously my dad's the manager there, but at the same time, yeah, maybe it's better to do
it's a lot.
get off and do bigger and better things. Yeah,
Yeah.
work your way up Amazon
I mean,
is better.
but I got totally fucked when I left.
Really? Why?
Because I started working at a brewery as their delivery driver, and then a month later the pandemic hit. So I lost my job.
No.
So I didn't have a job for like 6 months.
You got fucked so bad. I had a friend that was going to get married
annoyed.
that March on a cruise ship, by the way.
Oh,
And that didn't work out. They ended up getting married in Hollister, but which was a beautiful ceremony. Really nice people, but it was not a cruise ship. And I remember them like talking to me about how they're gonna have like their old relatives on the cruise ship for the wedding, and like then they're looking at stories of that same path, that same cruise, a bunch of people getting sick and dying, all of them older people. So he's like, yeah, I feel like we're just not gonna take the risk, and we're just gonna have it in Hollister.
yeah. No, yeah. Just do it in Hollister. I mean, my fiance and I are still trying to figure out wedding stuff, but like,
How far are you?
because we're gonna be moved.
How far are you in the planning process?
We are waiting to figure out when we're gonna move, because with my new job I have to relocate, but like they're giving me a good amount of time. But
Right.
the problem is right now every place we're looking, it'll be on like up for rent for like a day, and then it's
Right.
gone.
Right.
And it's just
it's
like
near
trying
Seattle,
to find
so
a place to rent right now. Yeah, it's
Feels-
a cluster.
It feels like it's all picking back up, so hopefully they'll be like I mean that sucks for you for the renting thing, but maybe New York will come back eventually because of that stuff. Because I want to go back and visit one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been talking to her. I might just try to buy a fucking house because it seems like it'd be easier to buy a house than find a rental at this point.
You got a job at Amazon.
But
That's pretty,
I'm
it's a big name, so they'll
yeah.
because you got to get the loan.
Yeah,
and
but
shit,
I
right?
got yeah, but I'm getting a new car this month,
Nice.
so it's like I don't want to have car payment and then like a mortgage, but like a mortgage would technically be cheaper than rent, so it's like
Hmm.
a lot of factors in there. So
Yeah, Piper and I have been thinking about eventually what we want to do with houses, but not even to the point where you're at. We're even considering it, so good for you.
yeah.
What have you been playing recently, as far as games and stuff?
Pokemon Go.
Hell yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. You have a couple podcasts.
Like-
One of them's for video games, right?
yeah, Super Swole Bros. We talk about video games in the gym.
Nice.
My co-host Isaac, he's a lot more of a gamer than I am, and I'm a lot more of a gym head than he is. But I have like several games. Actually, one of my favorite games that I play quite often is called Inquisitor Martyr. It's a Warhammer 40,000 video game, and it's just a lot of fun. So I play it constantly, and no one knows what the hell it is.
Say it again.
And I'm-
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor Martyr.
Inquisitor Mart. Oh, is it Warhammer?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Warhammer. It looked like a pretty good game. Ooh, what spell was that? Sick. I'll look at that later.
It's
Is it fun?
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's an easy game. Like it was great when I was in college because that game, it's like the missions only last like 10 minutes. So it's like I would be doing homework, play 10 minutes, and then get back to homework, then play 10 minutes, and get back to homework. So it was like an easy game to jump in and
I
out
see.
of. Whereas like a lot of the games that my co-host Isaac plays, it's like games where you will be sucked into them for like hours at a time. And I'm surprised he was able to graduate
dude.
when I did.
Dude, man.
'cause,
That's why I failed out of college. I just couldn't pay attention. The first year.
yeah, it fucking happens.
So Your other podcast is doing movies and stuff, right?
Yep, movies. So it's myself and three friends, Chris Avery and Buddy Hollywood.
Nice name.
Yep. Buddy Hollywood actually works in Hollywood. He's a scriptwriter.
Sick.
So we don't use his real name. So his name's Buddy
Sick.
Hollywood. Avery and Chris. I've known Chris since 10th grade, and Avery and Buddy Hollywood were Chris's roommates in college. So we all kind of met, and they did a podcast at one point. And then one day we were doing a FaceTime call during the pandemic, and I was like, you know what, guys, if you want like to start your podcast up again, let me know, and I can edit audio and stuff. And they were like, let's just do a new podcast.
Yeah.
And, like, so it's all four of us. I get drunk and we talk about movies.
What was the last one? What movie?
So we just recorded Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Nice. A classic.
So Kill Bill Volume 1 was supposed to come out on Wednesday, but
but life happens.
yeah, the deadline was missed, but it is what it is. And then we do an episode. So we have a Patreon, and if you subscribe to the Patreon, you get access to this thing we do called The Tavern, where it's just us kind of bullshitting.
Mm-hmm.
And The Tavern, we don't censor, but like the regular podcast we do. So it's like, we don't, we'll say fuck shit, all that crap, but we censor it. So like I actually go through every podcast and have to add in censors.
Damn, does that suck? Because I haven't had to do that yet.
It's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass.
Why do you have to, by the way?
We wanted it to not be an explicit podcast. We wanted it to be like anyone could listen to it. And on certain platforms, if your podcast is labeled as explicit, it won't show up in certain countries and like areas.
So it's like an exposure.
So we were like, so we were like, why don't we just, I'll go through, censor it. We try not to curse, but like, it slips a lot. So
sometimes you just have to as well.
And then,
for the joke to land or something like that.
And then, and so like, adding in a censor, it doesn't lose anything. It's just like, but it's like, God, there it is. So
yeah, that's really cool. You use Audacity, you said?
So I actually use Logic Pro, which is for Mac only. I got a deal when I was in college, so I still use it. Audacity is a great free program. So like anyone who wants to start a podcast, Audacity is easy. It's free. There's a lot of things on it. If you have Windows and you aren't like trying to like spend a lot of money, Acid Pro is a really good program. It's like less than $100 and it has a lot of stuff on it. But the only thing Logic Pro doesn't have that Audacity has is a compressor. And sometimes you need that compressor to like get all the levels right. So it's like, I'd rather use Audacity with Logic Pro than just one or the other.
Just works better.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, unless you have another thing you want to share before we start, would you like to start doing the topical stuff?
Yeah, let's do the topics.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
So, again, pass if you'd like. I don't mind. I haven't picked any of these beforehand. So, first one, college loans.
Fuck those things.
Man. I know.
Fuck those things.
Did you take any out? Or did you get any?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
Some
did.
sizable ones in your own name, or sizable ones in your parents' name, or how did it go?
My own name.
Your own name. Okay, good for
My
you.
own name. So, yeah,
I mean, it
so
sucks,
I started college late. Yeah, it sucks balls. I started college late. And so by the time I actually went into a 4-year college, I was over the legal age of when I needed parental signature for anything. I had my own credit, all that shit. So I think right now I have, it's not a lot, but it's still a lot more than I wanted to take out. I think it's like 16,000 in loans. My brother, on the other hand, has like 68,000 in loans. Jesus. But he went to like some Ivy League school, like straight out of college and all that shit. So I don't fucking know. But yeah, I think I always hear like this back and forth about college student loans and
Mm.
shit. And it's like most other countries have college for free.
That's
Or like
beneficial, but
yeah, or
right.
inexpensive. Now, this is the thing. Some people argue that if it's free, then anyone will go, which I don't see a problem in that,
Hmm.
but I understand the idea of, well, what if these people don't want to go and they're just going, like, they're being forced to go, like a parent is making them go, and it's
Hmm.
like, but fucking here, parents are always like, no, you need to go to
Hmm.
college. Whereas over there, it's like, if my parents make me go to college, at least I'm not going into debt to fail.
Hmm.
Um, I think student loans are the dumbest fucking thing ever. They aren't even forgiven when you
Yeah,
fucking
I know,
die.
which is that is I can't imagine, I can't describe that in any way except
Like,
evil. You know, you're dead and
yeah,
it doesn't go away and it's passed on to your family. That's
like what the
fucking
yeah,
awful.
what the fuck? Um, yeah, the only thing that I will say student loans are good
Hmm.
for is there are some situations where like if I go to college, and you need a place to live or like your car breaks down because I would take out student loans and I'd save about 1,000 of it I'd have in my bank account just in case something
Hmm.
happened,
Good idea.
which came in handy quite a few times where it's like my car broke down and I had to get something
Mm.
fixed. Um,
Smart.
that's the only plus side I can see to
Mm.
it. Uh, the other problem that I have with student loans is there are some people who, when they get them, they automatically think, okay, out of college, I'm gonna get a job. I've been
Hmm.
out of college. It took me 2 fucking years to find a job,
Mm.
and my job isn't even in the field I
Yeah,
wanted.
that's what everyone says.
So it's like,
Mm.
yeah, it's like, you find what you can, and why do you need to have the student loans for
Hmm.
that? Um, yeah, college should be fucking free.
Mm. I agree.
I mean, I don't mind more taxes.
I think that the only
Um,
problem with the more taxes thing is if you do it for college, then you got to do it for a lot of other things too. So they'll go up, but not just because of the college part, which is the
yeah.
hardest pill to swallow. It's like there's a lot of
Well, this
things
is the
that
thing.
really do deserve to have higher taxes on, or higher taxes
Yeah, well,
for.
okay, so this is what I think. I think for K through 12, we need higher taxes because there's a lot of underfunded
Hmm.
schools. Add in a little more tax, that way it makes at least community college free. At least if I want to get an AA or like a certificate or something, at least make that
Mm.
free. Um, I can understand the argument for certain institutions, certain 4 years, maybe the private ones not being free. That's fine, whatever. But at least make community college
Mm.
free and at least make, state run 4-year colleges cheaper.
For sure.
Make them obtainable without a student
Right.
loan, even if you still have to
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah. The fact that the student loan is basically required to go to college is fucking crazy.
Yeah, like what? Fuck you guys.
You have to go to
Like,
debt if you actually want to learn something like a life skill, which is
yeah,
insane.
and even like you go to community college for a 2-year program, and it's like if you don't have the money for that 2-year program, guess what you're gonna have to fucking do? Student
Hmm.
loans.
Hmm.
And I actually knew somebody who wanted to go for a 2-year program. Right before she signed up, that the local community college, got rid of that
Mm.
program. So she actually had to go out of state for a community college.
I've seen that before.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and so she went out of state for a community college, and when you're out of state, it's more
Right.
expensive.
Yeah.
So she had to take out
A
student loans
lot
for
more expensive too. Usually.
yeah. So it's like fuck that.
Yeah. Let's pass. Yeah. I think. Let's see. I took out 20. My parents took out 25 in their name, and I had 5,000 in mine, which I think now is like 6,000, and I still haven't paid that off fully. So. Yeah.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
so that sucks, and that's something I'm working on slowly. But college loan, the fact that you can, so at 18 years old, nobody knows what they want to do, and if someone says they know what they're going to do, they don't know what they want to do, And then you can go to this 18-year-old and say, hey, do you want to be an engineer? And then all you have to do is pay this amount of money. We'll give you a loan for this amount of money, and then you'll just pay us back when you're done. And then you start the engineering program, and it flattens you. And then you're like, oh, shit. And then you drop out of the engineering program, and they're like, oh, yeah, you still have to pay that back, though. And now it's just like, and then you just feel like your future's fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few friends who like knew what they were going to do when they were 18 and they did it.
Fucking good for them.
Great on them.
Good
but
for them.
yeah,
I know
the
people
majority
like that
of the
too.
people I knew. Yeah, but the majority of the people I know, it's like 18, we had no fucking idea. When I was 18, I wanted to do music. Music was like my life. I just wanted to get a music degree. And then it was like I left college. So I left community college. I didn't like finish. And then the older I got, I was like, I just want to do writing. Like writing, music is fun.
Music is great. It's a great outlet. It's a good
I'm
hobby.
not-
It's honestly a
I'm not-
lifetime hobby that's amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm not the best musician. I never have been, but like
It's fun.
I enjoy writing. And I was like, okay, if I can do something with writing, that's great. And so I have a degree in writing, but like can't even find a job with the degree. Most places are like, yeah, you may have the degree, but
Yeah.
we need more. It's like, well,
Yeah.
fuck you. What do you want me to
I
do?
had a friend who got a writing degree out of a 4-year university, and basically what he was doing for like 2 years was at his wife's father's company, he would go through their like terms of service document and like just check grammar, and that's what he did for like 2 years. And he had like a nice community there, but like it wasn't what he wanted to do with his writing degree. He was basically going over terms of service all day. So
Yeah.
so he got a job.
Yeah, I've been at several companies in my life where I would read like their documents that when you're hired at most companies they have you read. You can be Taco Bell or McDonald's and they still have you read shit. There were several companies I've worked at where I was reading the shit and I'm like, that's a grammatical error, that's a spelling error. What the fuck is that word?
When you see it in like something official, you're like, I don't even know what to do with this information. The fact that there's a mistake here, there shouldn't be a mistake here.
Yeah. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how have thousands and thousands of people read this same contract and not seen
I think
this?
they all have, which is the hilarious part.
God damn it.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. This one is gods. Do you believe in God?
Gods?
Or gods?
Nope.
Nope. Neither do I. It's interesting. Did you come from a background where your family was religious in any way?
Nope.
Interesting. Interesting. I came from a hardcore Protestant Christian background, so everyone in my family is Christian. So that was a really interesting thing that I had to go through.
Yeah, it's funny for me. I was raised Jewish. Like my family was never really religious, but like they were like, we want you guys to have some sort of basis.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. So I went to synagogue up until like 5th grade.
Cool.
And after that I was just like, I don't care. Like, this is the thing. A lot of people are like, so you don't believe in God, so you don't believe in anything. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have not given me compelling evidence that God exists.
That's all it is.
And they're like, well, it's about faith. It's like, it's about faith. And I totally understand that. And if anyone listening has faith and, like,
You do you.
you believe what you want to believe, I don't care. But to me, I mean, my background right now is Betelgeuse, which is literally translates from Arabic to the armpit of the Great One. That is one of the stars that makes up the Orion constellation. I believe it's the right arm, the right shoulder. Betelgeuse is a massive star that at any point is going to go supernova. And I hope it goes supernova in my lifetime because I want to see it.
You can see it during the day, right?
Now,
if it does.
yeah, you'll be able to see it during the day. It's like, that's fucking cool. Now, am I saying that some all-knowing entity didn't create that? No. Am I saying it's likely an all-knowing entity created that? Fuck no. Like, I think that there's too many things that we can't explain,
Mm-hmm.
and finding the answers is kind of where I like the idea of finding the
Mm-hmm.
answers. So man, I honestly I really should have just done an astronomy degree, but the college didn't fucking have that. The college I went to, so
Yeah, it wouldn't
um,
have been, you probably would have been just as well off at the end of it anyway.
yeah, it's also really funny for me because my fiance, when we first met, her car had a Jesus fish on it,
Nice.
and I remember before we were dating, I was really good friends with her
Uh-huh.
roommate, and they needed help moving
Uh-huh.
stuff. And I remember seeing a Jesus fish on her car, and I said something that like was very insulting. I don't remember what I said, but I remember it was very insulting. Like,
Yeah.
because I didn't know it was her
Oh,
car.
Jesus.
Exactly. And then I felt like a total dick. And
Was it hers?
it's just to it was her
Oh,
car.
is she Christian?
She
Have you
is.
guys had a deep conversation about religion?
So
Because
this is
that's the thing that not
she's-
everyone really
she's-
gets to.
Her whole family is very
Okay.
religious. To the point where her mom just like did an insane donation to their new church. Her parents moved to Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
and her mom donated
A
a
sizable portion.
good bit of money to the church.
Okay.
Um, and her whole family's religious. Her grandma does Bible study. Her mom does Bible study.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to their house, and her mom would be sitting at the kitchen table reading the Bible and highlighting things. And again, that's cool. I think some people need religion, whatever.
Mm.
And here I am, the atheist Jew, and it's just like,
The best.
well then.
I feel like no, that's where I'm at too. I'm not Jewish, but my whole family's atheist or Christian, and I'm atheist, so it's kind of an interesting
Well,
thing.
I've joked with so many people that being atheist makes me the best Jew ever.
Mhm.
Because in the Jewish religion, and actually in Catholicism and Christianity too, it says God gave man free will, and part of that free will is to question whether or not God exists. So therefore, because I question God's existence, I'm the best Jew. I'm exercising my free will.
No, the best Jew is the main character of Fiddler on the Roof. Have you seen Fiddler on the Roof?
Yeah. Oh no, the best
Hmm.
Jew. The best Jew is Jonathan in Everything is Illuminated.
I haven't seen it.
See it or read the book. It's great, but the movie actually, one of the main characters is portrayed by one of my favorite band's lead singers, and then Jonathan is portrayed by Elijah Wood.
2005. Oh, dude, Elijah Wood, hell yeah.
Good movie.
Okay.
We actually reviewed that on my podcast. I was very drunk
I'm sure.
when we reviewed that movie. I was so drunk.
But it was that makes
to
it
the
more
point
fun.
where for me, yeah. Apparently, a lot of some people who've listened to it really like it. I listened to it because I had to edit
Uh-huh.
it, and I was like, I was too drunk. I was too drunk. Like this is
Sometimes
terrible.
you're just there. Sometimes you feel like you can handle it, and then you can't. Dude, I actually took some mushrooms before this, so it's kind of a wild experience right now. Just letting you know.
That's fine.
It's
fine.
kind of if you're
I'm
gonna
sure
talk about
that is not helpful.
it's takes my attention away from your face a little bit, but yeah, both are very
I'm actually
explosive
gonna-
though, by the way. By the way, your beard looks awesome. And
Thank you.
honestly,
I
the
love
man
this.
bun too kind of works. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my parents keep telling me to cut my hair.
No, don't do it.
Because I have a big boy job now,
Uh-huh.
and all of my coworkers are like, "We don't give a fuck." Like even my manager,
Well,
I interviewed with my manager, and I forgot to tie up my hair, so my hair was like down.
interesting. Okay, that was probably a
And
mistake.
I got the
Yeah, of
job,
course.
so it's like
Honestly, the man bun is
instead
such a weird like limbo state where it's like it's kind of casual, but at the same time you can make it look very professional. So,
Yeah.
so I would never tell someone to cut their hair if they had a man bun. If they had hair down to their waist, maybe. But even then, my hair does not.
Even then, like why does it fucking
Yeah,
matter? I'm still, you
who
do
really
what you
cares?
do. So
Yeah, my hair like goes
I'm not a lawyer,
exactly.
so
If you're a lawyer, then the image is probably a little bit more important. Yeah,
yeah.
my hair grows straight out the sides, so if I tried to grow it out, it would look bad for like probably a couple years. So I don't think I'd want to go down that road.
So I don't know if you remember at Star Market, because I had to, we had to cut our
Mm,
hair. Um,
yeah,
I would always do an undercut, and actually on this side of my
mm.
head, the hair over here just goes
That's what I
straight
did
out.
too. Yeah.
So it took like, I want to say a good like 3 or 4 months before it started
Yeah.
looking
Yeah, because
okay.
it looks that transition period is just not very fun at all. Um,
Mhm.
we were talking about gods though. Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Um,
So
I
with this,
also
go ahead.
one of the other things that I actually find really interesting. So like I did a lot of research into gods and demons and angels,
Sure.
like basically my whole
Mhm.
life. I always find it interesting, and I like seeing why people might believe it.
Mhm.
But the most interesting for me is like ancient gods. Like we're talking like the Egyptian gods, the Greek gods,
Yeah.
Roman
Same.
gods, the
Same.
Aztec gods. Those are so
Mm.
fascinating. Actually, in the book I wrote, I used spoilers. I used two Aztec gods, and they were one of them was kind of the villain, but like I didn't want to portray them as the villain. It was more of a misunderstood, like overprotective mother
Hmm.
character that happened to do terrible
Mm.
things because to protect and their
Mhm.
child. So,
Mm.
uh,
Dude, the archetypes are really what I'm into, especially right now. And the common stories throughout the different like Egyptian gods, Greek gods, all those kind of things. The where they intersect is really really interesting. You said
yeah,
overbearing mother, and one of the interesting things about the overbearing mother archetype is to protect their child, to protect a person's child. You can literally do everything that is humanly possible to keep them from coming in harm's way, but in doing so, become the villain. So what you do is you
yep,
basically lock them in the basement and never let them leave, and then suddenly you've stopped protecting them from evil because you yourself have become the evil that's hurting your child. And it's like, and those
yep,
concepts were like the trying to make stories around them is so interesting because there's so many different ways that can go. So many different ways that you can arrive at that point, and so many different places you can go once you get there. So
yeah. And one of the other things I also found really interesting is like minor, not minor gods, but like kind of how the gods affect humanity
mm,
in stories. So one of my favorite constellations,
mm,
Orion, Betelgeuse right here for a
mm,
reason. There's actually a really, really cool nebula in Orion called the Orion Nebula, and it looks like a flower through a telescope. It's fucking
cool.
awesome. Um, do you know the story of why Orion is in the sky?
I mean Orion, the guy who's holding Medusa's head, Hercules.
No, Orion the hunter.
Okay,
He Hercules. No, so Orion is the hunter, and so do you know the other constellation known as the
I
Pleiades?
don't know much about the constellations, unfortunately.
Okay, so the Pleiades is known as the Seven Sisters, and actually, if you look at a Subaru badge,
Oh, I
how it's
have a
all the stars.
Subaru.
Subaru is Japanese for the
Okay,
Pleiades.
okay,
Except for your Subaru has 6 stars because they do it for the 6 companies that Subaru is associated with.
okay.
So Subaru is Japanese for the Pleiades. So the story of the Pleiades in Greek mythology, I want to say, um, Orion saw them, the Seven Sisters, lounging, and he wanted to fuck
Of
them.
course.
So he chased them, and they were like, "Oh shit." And they're running. For years, they would run away from Orion until Zeus took pity on them and threw them into the sky, essentially. And then, like, a few years later, when Orion was dying, Zeus threw him into the sky to continue chasing the Pleiades. Like, what the
I
fuck?
love these stories.
What the
Dude,
fuck?
I was doing a paper on the Hindu gods and how they relate to Moulin Rouge, the movie, the 2005.
Okay. Okay.
Great fucking movie, by the way. Please watch it if you can.
Yeah.
As a writer, you'll probably really love Ewan McGregor in it. But anyway, I was doing the research on the Hindu gods that it's based on, and the goddess of love is like literally created when another god sweats, and then her physical form is born out of the sweat from that god. And because
That's
Shiva
interesting.
laughs, and then I think it was Brahman. He like starts sweating because Shiva's laughing, and then all of a sudden the physical vessel that later becomes the goddess of love is born out of that. And I'm just like, what is happening in this story? But
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
the Hindu gods and stuff, which by the way is really really intense, and all of them kind of sound some kind of whack job like that. But they're the symbolism that they're trying to capture is like really really good.
Hmm.
Next topic.
Yep. Let's go. Actually, before we do that, I do need a bathroom break real quick. I've been kind of chilling. Give me like 2 minutes. I apologize, dear
You got it.
listeners.
Next yeah.
All right, cool. See, I was also given a little bit more time for those shrooms to kick in, which I see they have from your background.
Yeah, man. Just with these ones, it's always been on just the wait a little bit longer than most of them. These are a little weaker than usual. I'm actually not. I don't have them that often. Let's see. These ones I got about a month ago. Yeah, and I hadn't had mushrooms for a year since then, and I only had them once in Fremont's Peak at the top. Before that, so I've been trying to
That would be
experiment more with that kind of thing, just because, as far as mushrooms go, there's not really a lot of reason that they're illegal and stuff like that.
Fair.
Have you done any psychedelics before?
Nope.
Nope. You should try it. Not that you have to.
Nope.
I encourage it not because
It's not my thing.
no, well, it's hard to say if anything's anybody's thing if you haven't really considered or like haven't ever actually like experimented with it at all. But the only reason I say that is just because trying new things is fun, and that's a very unique experience.
I agree. And actually, here, this is a topic: drugs.
Yeah, let's do that because the one I drew was memes, but we can do that one next.
Yeah. So I'm actually very much so anti-drug.
Interesting. I would probably be on the opposite end.
I don't. Yeah, I don't care about weed. Weed doesn't fuck it. I've smoked weed and I've tried different strands. Like everyone I knew was always like, try this strand, try that strand.
Most of them are the same.
Every strand of weed just does the same thing to me. It makes me tired, hungry, and paranoid, and that's it. I don't need weed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really smoke
Sure.
weed. Um, drugs, on the other hand, I am very anti-drug because when I was a kid, my sister was a heroin
Oh,
addict.
well, that's a good reason to be anti-drug.
So I just now don't get me wrong, I don't give a fuck if people do
Mm-hmm.
drugs, but there's a hard line. Like weed, I'm fine with. Shrooms, it's not something that I want to try, but like I know a lot of people who've done it and whatever. Heroin, fuck no.
Yeah, that's probably
um,
safer. I haven't done anything but, beyond mushrooms, but and I probably never will. But
yeah, yeah, probably do some peyote. Like there you go. Um, uh, I do feel like in certain mindsets, maybe it'd be interesting. Um, but as one of my friends said, when you give a writer drugs, that's a bad idea.
or a
That's
very
a
good
really
idea.
bad
Let's be
idea.
honest.
Or a very good, yeah. I mean, we have Alice in
Alice in
Wonderland
Wonderland is
because of
fucking
mushrooms.
great example.
Yeah, or it's a very bad idea because, like, for me, I'm one of those people that as I write, I get really into the mindset of what I'm writing
Mm-hmm.
about. So I could only imagine writing the book I wrote while on mushrooms. I probably would have killed myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
lot there. Um,
It's what it feels like.
yeah, I
Yeah, sometimes. Just the
um,
the I was trying to describe what it's like to have a panic attack the other day, and it's like you have a thought, and then like that thought branches off into some other thoughts, and then those thoughts branch off into other thoughts, and then you're like trying to wrangle all of them at once, and honestly, it's like I would rather not exist than try to wrangle that. Is basically what the thought process is for me. Like maybe, and that's like, and you gotta like, I think that's kind of like a cowboy. You kind of have to wrangle that monster in however what way you can. Whatever
yeah,
keeps you sane, whatever keeps you grounded. You gotta latch onto something.
yeah, yeah. It's also funny for
Sure.
me because like I do smoke cigarettes, or I quit cigarettes, but I still use nicotine. I drink
Mm.
alcohol, and I understand those are drugs,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, and I also understand that like a lot of the problems with drugs are social connotations to
Mm-hmm.
them and the way society views
Mm-hmm.
it. And I understand that. It's just from my personal
Mm-hmm.
experiences, it's like when you have somebody you really care about, like kind of completely fuck their life up because of it,
Mm.
it changes it.
Yeah.
Like if she wasn't, if that didn't happen with my sister, maybe I'd be a little more open. And again, I don't care about people doing it. It's just depending on what it is, I might call you a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Would you say that on a legal sense you're open to drugs, or on a legal sense even still you would vote that to keep it illegal, all substances?
um, I think weed should be legal.
Fair enough. That one's kind of
Uh,
obvious. I don't know why it's taken so long.
yeah,
It's taken so long because of the older people that haven't really
yeah,
reconsidered it.
weed should be
Hmm.
legal. Um,
Mushrooms. How about them?
mushroom. I do know that mushrooms actually have some benefits when it comes to certain psychological disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think medically it'd be fine, and I think recreationally with certain limitations. Um,
What kind of limitations?
it's well, okay. The only reason I say with limitations is because mostly people can handle it, but there are cases of people who like go fucking crazy on mushrooms. Like there's I remember reading about a guy who did some mushrooms with friends and thought that his skin was falling off or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So he ended up like jumping out of a 3-story window and like breaking both of his legs and his arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
there should be limitations. Um, I mean, if you're in a safe environment, whatever.
How about your stance on alcohol then, as a drug itself?
Oh, it's most definitely a
But
drug,
like
and most definitely
in
a pair
society, is it okay to have to use alcohol as often as it is today? as a drug, because
Um,
it is a basically the same thing as weed or psychedelics as far as like
yeah,
its
yeah.
effects. I would put them on
So,
similar
so this,
levels, even if they do different things.
I can understand that. So with alcohol, there's a lot of weird things with it. Alcohol is a lot like peyote.
I've never
I
tried
think
it.
peyote should be legal. I think peyote should be legal because it's used by a lot of indigenous peoples as a spiritual
Hmm.
thing. Alcohol, Jesus turned water into wine. The Jews drink alcohol on Seder. Like, there are a lot of religious connotations with it.
Hmm.
Um, and also, as a whole, alcohol can be very destructive if used improperly, which is why we have the limitations. Like, if you go to a bar and drink, the bartender can cut you off. If you drive drunk, you can get a ticket. There's a
You
lot
can
of
kill
things
somebody.
that, yeah, yeah, you can. But at least with alcohol, we do have a metric to like test the amount that's in your
Hmm.
bloodstream. There isn't that really doesn't exist for most other substances at the moment. And I think part of the reason for that is because of how alcohol was more accepted because of religious reasons. Um, and I feel like with alcohol and other substances, it's a guessing game. You can't really say how one substance is going to affect everybody.
Yeah,
So it's a hard
it
line.
is a really hard line.
Or so
Here's my thing about alcohol. So regardless of whether or not it's accepted by or it's acceptable because of religion and religious reasons and stuff like that, you can
yeah.
kill yourself with alcohol really easily. You can
Yes,
spend $20 and
yes,
kill
but
yourself in just about
also
any time you want, which is really fucking
but
crazy.
also alcohol is the reason we have society.
Actually, it was mushrooms, and then they shifted to an alcohol-based society.
Actually, it was alcohol. And
Okay,
I have actual proof
sure.
for this.
Alcohol is probably the easiest one
Um
to make outside of finding mushrooms, but yeah.
yeah. So they actually found recent evidence that so ancient man we would store grain and food in like these vessels and bury them and come back to
Mhm.
them. And they found these vessels that had remnants of wheat and alcohol and beer actually
The first
in
beer.
them. So what happened is they were buried, water got into them, chemical reaction, time, heat, all that stuff created beer, and ancient man came back. And if you look at ancient beer and ancient
Mhm.
wine, it's actually a fairly reasonable nutrition. So the Egyptians, when they built the pyramids, I'm sorry to all my fellow Jews, but we didn't build
Right?
them. The people who built them were actually paid in beer
Food and
because
stuff. Yeah.
because beer was a viable thing for food. But also these ancient forms of beer and wine had such a low alcohol content that like if you really wanted to get fucked up on it, you it's like drinking a
Yeah, it's
non-alcoholic
like
beer.
kombucha.
It would take yeah, it'd take way too
Yeah.
much. Um, so actually, they theorized that because these vessels became
Mhm.
beer, ancient man was like, okay, it's tasty, and it provided the right
Mhm.
nutrients. How can we better make this? And they
Mhm.
think that man started settling down and harvesting wheat
Right.
for beer because wheat, I believe, is the first
Hmm.
like first food that we
Right. Bread.
grew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story I
So
heard, which is very, very similar, was that we had bread, and they stored it in pots or vessels of some sort, under the ground, and somehow the vessels got were imperfect, and water got into them from rainfall, and when they came back to get those vessels to get the bread back, what they found was an alcoholic treat. And since then, we've had our
yeah.
societies based around them. So I think that was what it
There,
was.
there's a there's a really good documentary called How Beer Saved the World.
And honestly, if you think about it,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing
So
that ties us together better
anyone
than alcohol.
listening, I recommend it. I highly recommend that.
How we save the world.
That doc. So what was the next topic?
Honestly, I wanted to when you're not into heroin, obviously for your specific reasons. I assume that anything that's more intense than mushrooms or even beyond, anything like that is a no. Yeah. So how does that factor into when you actually do pharmaceuticals from like for like treatments of things like that? Those are okay if they have purpose that's like doctor assigned.
So I won't even go that far. So with pharmaceuticals, actually, I had a serious injury, and I was prescribed basically like it was a painkiller, and I didn't even use it. I feel like if you're in a medical setting and they are actually administering it, I have more faith in that. However, there are a lot of those painkillers that are basically heroin.
Yeah, Vicodin and all that shit.
So it's like, don't fucking give me that, period, end of discussion. And I feel like you can make an argument for why any drug needs to be legal. It's out there. I mean, heroin started out as a medical substance.
A non-addictive substance, they called it.
A non-addictive, yeah, as they
said.
A
definitely stressed that.
Substance. But, you know, anything can be addictive.
Yeah. Was it My Strange Addiction? There was like some chick that had an addiction to eating toilet paper. Like she would just eat it square by square. At that point, I don't think it's a physical dependency. I think it's a psychological thing.
She gets enough fiber in her diet, is what you're saying.
It's like that. There's more fiber in the cereal box than the actual cereal kind of situation.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, think of it this way. Anything can be addictive. A lot of people talk about there is a difference between physical and mental addiction. I believe nicotine is a physical and mental addictive substance. It, you know, when you don't have nicotine in your body because it reacts with your brain this way, you stress out. Then you have other substances like weed. Weed can be mentally addictive. I knew people who were like, weed's not addictive at all, but like if they didn't have their weed, they'd be pissed.
Yeah.
So it's like,
they like who they are honestly, on weed better than they like them when they're not on weed and stuff like that.
Yeah. And honestly, one of the things that I got really good at is arguing for things I don't agree with.
Oh, such a good.
So it's like I can
trait.
make arguments. Yeah, I can make arguments for why heroin and cocaine and like meth need to be legal. But in my personal opinion, no.
Yeah. Would you?
So.
Because I feel like I tend to right now view all drugs on the same level. Mostly because I feel like society allows alcohol, but not weed at the moment, and that's specifically just kind of arbitrary. You know, at the end of the day, if weed had been as prevalent at the time, then weed might have been the thing that saved civilization. Or if mushrooms had been more common, then mushrooms could have been the thing that saved civilization.
Yeah, and weed was used in society for hundreds of thousands of years. Like Henry Ford in the 1920s built came up with the concept of building automobile not the frame, the bodywork out of hemp.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was much more sustainable and much more like it had more strength than steel. But it was at the time when weed was like being viewed
Reefer
as like
madness.
This terrible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I remember William Hearst actually shut down that industry because it was going to conflict with his newspaper industry, and he was really into cutting down trees, and he was not going to allow the hemp industry to start making paper.
Yep. And then, but like also, I can make the argument for alcohol, nicotine, weed, and mushrooms should be legal. at least as a recreational substance,
That's an easier case to make, or easy-ish case to make.
then yeah, but like meth, so these are all natural. Like alcohol forms naturally. Nicotine is a natural chemical in tobacco. Weed grows. Can't justify. It's harder to justify heroin that's like has to be produced, or like crystal meth that like you make in a Gatorade bottle or whatever
Dude.
the fuck. Um, yeah.
So you're saying that because the other ones are more naturally uh, accumulated, that it's like more of an understandable way that those things can be legal, and the other things that are more lab created should be illegal.
Yeah.
And those are more intense, generally speaking. So what would you say to someone who has done like a DMT experience where they said it was life-changing and it like shattered their boundaries and made them a better person?
That's fine. No, that's fine. Like, honestly, if somebody had an experience and like it changed them for the better, I don't give a fuck. But I'm saying if it becomes such a regular part of your life that it affects you and you can't function, we have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
And from my experiences and from like what I've learned, the majority of the people who use these lab created, synthesized things tend to not be able to function without them. And if they do use them, they aren't functioning like properly, and it fucks with chemical imbalances, shit like that. And then we can talk about doctors. I mean, doctors are prescribing these basically the same fucking thing, and fuck those assholes. But if I'm like in a medical facility and it's like, all right, we're fucking doing surgery on your leg, and they give me the painkiller, if I know that painkiller I can only get it because they're fucking cutting off my leg or whatever, cool.
So you're, because of the professional aspect of it, in those situations you're okay with them. So all medical prescribed, any sort of drug, everything's on the table as long as it's medically provided.
As long as it is, as long as you can give me a good medical reason, and as long as a medical professional is administering it. I feel like prescriptions, like me being able to go to the drugstore and pick up a prescription, is dangerous because even though a medical professional recommends them, they are not administering them to me.
Fair enough. Donald Trump totally needed the whatever he was on all the time. Yeah, he was totally doctor prescribed, and yeah, definitely. Let's talk about Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't vote, and I assume that you're in that boat, which is
I vote.
Yeah,
I vote.
You voted Biden.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I would have voted if I had voted. I would have voted Biden.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Fuck Donald Trump. I have friends who voted for Donald Trump, and let them. It's their American
Basically,
right to vote however the hell they want.
Basically, all my family did, or at least half my family. At least half my family, on my dad's side, or on my mom's side, and then my dad's side was kind of split 50-50.
No offense, your dad seems like a Trump vote.
Yeah. He's also. Oh my god, I love the guy.
He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Some people get really caught up in like I'm religious and all of my views come from my religion, and then when someone goes, "Hey, what about this thing?" and they go, I never thought about it, but then you can like see it in their eyes. I don't think about any of these things, and I'm just gonna refer to the text whenever I talk about these subjects. And so it's like, and that's the most difficult part for me, because it's like, okay, I can show you why homosexuality is totally okay. I can go through that process of thinking with you and like show you that there's no good reason to say that this is worthy of damnation for eternity. And then you could just like, and you could see them trying to work it out, but because their answer is usually, my God said that it's icky, then it tends to always lean hard on that direction. And they just end up there anyway, no matter what, because they're not actually thinking about the topic.
This is where I argue. This is my favorite argument about people who are like, homosexuality is a sin. That's nice. I believe that the clothes you're wearing are 90% polyester and 10% cotton. Therefore, you're going to hell because if you read the Bible, it says that thou shalt not wear clothes of mixed mixed fiber.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Period.
And it's like, for some reason, they look at other people and say, you're crazy for not accepting that, even just on the most basic Christian level, that someone resurrected from the dead. If I, as a person that's like a thinking individual, have answered resurrection is not possible, and then you're telling me that it not only is it possible, but it is the cornerstone of your religion, and I'm saying, well, I don't accept that, and then they say that I'm denying the truth, then I don't know where to go from there. And the only way forward is to do things like you just did and say, hey, your doctrine is wrong in just this little reason. This is the only reason that, like, poke holes here and there. So, yeah, obviously that's a stupid thing to have a God say that you have to do this. Why would he do that? There's no good reason. And then you can go even farther, and there's like a Numbers 31, which is like the Israelites fight a city, win, and kill all the soldiers, which is... it's war. But then they take all the women and children captive, and they take them back to Moses, and then they say, hey, we took down the city, and here's all the prisoners. And he goes, what the hell? You were supposed to kill everybody. So I need you to kill all the women who've been with a man, and all the boys, period, and then take all the virgin girls for yourself. And they do. And then I'm like, this is literally evil incarnate. This is literally the cornerstone of like everything that we hate as modern society right now. And you're looking at me and telling me that this is the all-loving God that you worship, and I'm just I can't do it. I couldn't do it for so long trying to, because they don't think about it like that, and I don't understand. You kind of see what I'm trying to do with like pointing that story out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like in Judaism, eating kosher.
Yeah. Tradition.
That made sense at the time.
Yeah, of course. It's like healthy.
But
of, like parasites
now,
and stuff.
Yeah, but like now?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Lobster's delicious. I'm eating that shit. Mm-hmm. A double cheeseburger? Hell yes. Yeah, there are a lot of things with religion, and I did find it really interesting that so many people who are so religious voted for Trump, because it's like...
he's not that religious.
He's broken so many of what you view as sins, like he slept with another woman out of wedlock, he's cheated on his wives, he covets money.
His current wife he's cheated on plenty of times.
Paints shit, he fucking paints shit gold, like he worships himself. And actually, in every view of the word, if you were to look at the things he does, he is actually not a Christian, he's a Satanist. Because if you read the Satanic Bible, it's all about loving yourself and worshiping yourself. That's what Donald Trump does. So he's a Satanist and a megalomaniac.
I tend to, at this point, I'm just kind of like wandering on my own, and when I see people either hate or love Trump, I don't understand either one, because obviously he's a megalomaniac for sure. I don't know if Satanist is something that I would describe Donald Trump as. I think that that's an interpretation of his actions, but I don't know. But I want to be more literal when it comes to what I would refer to as Satanism. So I actually knew Satanists in high school.
But have you read the Satanic Bible?
I have not read the Satanic Bible. You got me there.
Read the Satanic Bible.
Maybe not, but maybe. I read the Mormon Bible. In the Satanic,
that's actually I've read a little of that. So I've read the Quran, the Satanic Bible, the Torah. I'm pretty well versed in a lot of. I'm not like by no means an expert in any of them, but like I'm fairly well versed. And honestly, the Satanic Bible, a lot of it is just there's no real mention of like make a sacrifice to the devil. It's almost all of it is about just like loving yourself and treating and considering yourself your own god.
Yeah. Well, was it over 90% of Satanists are atheists? They're just practicing Satanism because it's fun usually, or like because they just want to.
Yeah, or because it's just interesting.
Yeah, and it is.
There's a band I listen to, and the lead singer is a card-holding member of the Church of Satan, but he's like, I'm an atheist. So I mean, but yeah, we were talking about Trump, not religion this time.
Trump. The reason I don't hate him, like a lot of people do, is just it's not because like I'm a supporter of Trump, and I feel like the line has become either hate or love, and I'm just kind of like, I see why people hate him, and I virtually always agree, like, yeah, those things are despicable and disgusting. But at the same time, there's a billion people like Trump. There's like a lot of people that are like Trump, and I hate, and like we tend to hate Trump because he's in front of us. But like, he's just one person that's of billions of people that are exactly like him. So, and I want to love all people, and that's kind of difficult to do, generally speaking. And I can't say that I love Trump, but at the same time, he's just a fuck up like us all. So I'm kind of like struggling with the hatred of him.
I think it's really stupid how people are like, you voted for Trump, I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
Or like, you didn't vote for Trump, I can't talk to you. Or like how there's so much
friends out of
animosity
your life because of a decision like that.
Yeah, it's like, like I said, I have friends who voted for Trump. I love him just the same. I don't care.
Right. And you shouldn't. It shouldn't be like the cornerstone of your relationship.
There are a few people that I know who kind of took it a little too far.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. So it's like, you can't let your political ideology become your personality.
Yeah.
In the end, just don't let your political ideology become your personality.
Let it like take over your entire lifestyle, your entire worldview, and then becomes like the filter by which you look at the world, and then you start hating everything.
Yeah, I remember reading something, and it was like this guy who owns a business, and he was like, I went through the parking lot after Trump lost and fired everyone who had a Biden sticker. And I was like, well, first of all, that's illegal.
Yeah.
So, you posting that on Twitter is a dumb fucking idea.
He was dumb, whoever he was.
Because now you have a legal case. But the other thing is like...
Probably didn't. He was probably just fucking around.
Yeah, the other thing is like, there are a lot of presidents in our past. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of good things you can say about presidents and a lot of bad things you can say about presidents. I'm sure there are a few good things that you can say about Trump, whatever. But like as a whole, like looking back, it's like there were just so many things that fucked us.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled us out of the climate accord, like that fucked us in the future. He also lied, under oath, essentially, which is something that the Republicans tried to get Bill Clinton impeached for. He incited a riot.
He would have been impeached, but he resigned before it went through. Bill Clinton.
No, Bill Clinton didn't resign.
I could be wrong. I could just be wrong.
I could also be wrong. It's been a while since I've looked up my president. I should call my brother. My brother would have all the answers. My brother's a poli-sci guy. Like, he'd have all the answers. Yeah. It's just, like, when I look at it, I feel like Trump did more harm than good.
Agreed. Agreed, by the way.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Like, you could have said anything but what you said, Yeah. And, again, my friends who voted for him, I still love them. I don't care. Makes you a better person than most.
In my view.
Or at least a better person than a lot of people.
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends, I was the best man at his wedding. And I'm friends with him and his wife. And they voted for Trump. And, like, after the first time Trump got elected, they were like, yeah, we voted for Trump. And I'm like, cool. I voted for Hillary. And they were like, all right, cool. We move on with our lives.
Real friendships.
Like, we don't
Real friendships.
Yeah. And I do think just people take that shit a little too seriously.
Way too seriously.
And it's like, in the end, you got to look out for yourself. And if you think that voting Republican or voting Green Party or voting Democrat or whatever is better for you, fine.
And I think that I agree. Just I wish people were better at giving and taking criticisms well, because it feels like that conversation kind of falters. By the way, thank you for doing the podcast. I'm not very good at any of this shit, but like it's kind of like an outlet, podcasting in general seems to be that. But
And we all need an outlet after 2020, dude. Like, we all need it.
especially because like even the infighting within my family was getting a little bit too much for me. So I was like, I gotta do something, because it seems like all these people are missing the bigger picture, and that's that we're all kind of in this together always, even outside of a pandemic. Because once the pandemic's done, and it's almost out at this point, we're still just people in modern society, and that's a lot on its own. Did you watch Bo Burnham, his newest special on Netflix?
I actually am not a fan of Bo Burnham.
Watch this one and then tell me if you're a fan of him, because this one is different. It's more relevant to like today, and it just came out like a week ago, so highly recommended.
Okay.
And I guess the last thing we'll do for the podcast is something I like to do, and we'll do 10 things we're grateful for each. You do 10, and then I'll do 10. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I'll let you start.
Okay.
That's every time somebody says like, "What are you grateful for?" I'm like,
I know. 10 things is difficult because it's like you actually have to you have the regular things, and then you actually have to think about more stuff. So you can go as small or as big as you want with those things. So my wife, my dog, podcast as an outlet. It's been really, really nice. Brown leather shoes. I really like those. My apartment. It's in Monterey, near downtown. Which, by the way, when you're in town again, let's go get a drink.
I'm in town basically every weekend.
We should go get a drink soon.
We should.
The park near my house is awesome. There's a guy that lives in it who's homeless, and he's a really cool guy. I'm thankful for him as well, because it's nice to have those conversations with people that are out there, because it really kind of puts into perspective what you have here. And also it's like I don't mean that dismissively. He's a really interesting person as an individual to individual, and he's got a great dog. I think for the computer that I have, which is really nice one. It's an Omen HP. It's got lights and stuff. I'm super happy with it. What else? I'm thankful for the budding relationship we have, starting with our neighbors, which they have a new baby, so it's it's not like a best friend thing, but it's nice to get to know people that are in that situation, because I don't know any other parents, and honestly, if because they actually have been talking to us about doing some babysitting stuff, so that would be a really good experience for Piper and I, who don't have anything but a dog. I'm thankful for my wife's attention to plants, because I kill everything and she keeps everything alive.
Same.
And I'm thankful for therapy and how it can help. Yeah. If you're willing, it is a thing that can help you. That's my 10.
Oh yeah. Yep. All right. So my 10. So I'm automatically going to go off the bat. I'm thankful for my fiance, and I'm thankful for all of our little pets we have. We have 2 rats, a bunny, and a cat. And they're all so cute. The cat's an asshole, but like the rest of them are great. I'm thankful for being able to get a job that's going to allow me to hopefully grow.
Good for you, by the way.
Thank you. I'm thankful for Warhammer, because during the pandemic, when I didn't have a job, that's all I had. I just would sit down here and paint miniatures, and that was it. So, I'm thankful for I'm also going to follow you on the podcast, because it's been a great outlet doing the 2 podcasts that I have. And it kind of keeps me on my toes. I get to edit audio. I get to talk to friends. It's awesome. I'm thankful for YouTube. Because I love cooking, and I found amazing cooking shows on YouTube that have taught me how to make crazy things.
Binging with Babish, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Binging with Babish, Mythical Kitchen, Bon Appetit. Fucking It's Alive with Brad Leone.
What's the guy's name? The really big guy, Matt No, not Matt. He's hilarious. He's a comedian, and he's also like a professional chef, and he's like a very large fat man, and he's super happy all the time. I forgot his name. I can't remember.
I can't remember his name either. I know
It's
who
Matt,
you're talking
though, right?
about too. Yeah. I
can't remember. Okay, well, anyway,
I've
there's a
seen
lot
that
of good
shit
cooking
too.
shows. Good for you.
Yeah. I think that was number 8.
I
I
threw you
think
off.
I think I was it. Thankful for music because,
Hmm.
like, again, something that kind of like keeps you going. I'm thankful for being able to buy a vehicle.
Yeah.
I have 2 cars and I'm buying another car.
Might
I'm
sell
getting rid
one.
of one of them, but yeah, I'm selling one. Actually, one of my cars next week, or not next week, the week after next, is going into the body shop to get new paint and everything. So that'll be fun. And then around the time that car goes in, I'm actually selling the other one and buying a new
Good
car,
for you.
which is awesome. I am thankful for beer. Partially because that was my last job, was selling beer. So it was a paycheck. It paid the bills. You know, it was a good
helped
job,
you.
and I got to meet a lot of interesting people. I'm gonna do one more just because I forgot what number I was on.
How about go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What's
Because like I
what's
had
the
something, and then I
constellation
was
behind
like, oh, Orion. I'm thankful for the Orion Nebula because that thing is a baller ass motherfucker through a telescope.
I'll have to buy one and look at it because
You know what? One of these weekends we should just go to Big Sur. I'll bring my telescope.
please.
I got a motorized telescope that goes up to like I think 300 times magnification.
Yes. Do you camp?
It's actually my fiance and I are planning on going camping before we leave. We're trying to do something different every weekend we're here. But it's just hard right now because her job is on weekends. So we're trying to find a weekend to go camping. If you and Piper if you and Piper want to come, like, let's do a little camping trip and chill.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
I'd be all for it.
I would really enjoy that. And lastly but not least, thank you again for the podcast. I just wanted to. You're one of the most interesting people I've ever met. So it's just like, so I just really wanted to see if you would be willing to do this, and I'm really glad you did.
Thank you. And yeah, if you have any questions about like podcast shit, like let me know. Like I said, I do too. I'm okay at the editing. So.
I haven't even looked at any of your stuff. So after this, I'll probably check it out, and then then I'll ask you how you did some stuff.
Of course, man. All right, man. Well, until next time, I'll talk to you later, and we'll get that beer and that camping trip going.
Peace.
Deuce.